And you know, I don't think I've ever been refused. But every time that I've released healing in a marketplace, it happens. The pain leaves. Their back straightens up. They're like, oh wow, this is, hey, yeah, it's working. One time Steve sent me to the Lowe's, I think it was. You know, ladies, do you ever have those days when it's like you're not leaving the house days and you've done the oil in the hair and, you know, you're doing one of those days, the mask, you know, you've got all this stuff on. If anyone ever came over, they thought you were some kind of victim of war, you know, because you were really looking bad. But Steve goes, all right, I'll paint the porch if you go get the paint. I'm thinking, ooh, great. So it's the eyeglasses, you know, those sunglasses, cap. I'm just going to run in incognito. No one will ever see me. They won't know me. I'll get the paint. I'll be out 2 hours in that store to get it out. I'm like, what is going on? You know, when those things happen, God is up to something. That means somebody else is late for their divine appointment, and you're there waiting. So I'm waiting. All of a sudden, this little lady from New Jersey comes by, cussing up a storm, just this and that, you know, very fluent in her language. And then she's saying how much she has back pain on, and I said, oh, this has got to be why I've been here for 2 hours to get a gallon of paint. So I said, well, hey, you know what? I was helping her pick paint chip colors and doing all that stuff. And then when she started complaining of having surgery Wednesday, I said, there's really no need for you to have surgery. I said, I have a healing gift from God. And if you'll let me pray for you, God's going to heal you. And then he gives me a specific word. He says, tell her that I'm going to cause heat to come from the top of her head, go down her back, and all the pain is going to drain out of her feet. I'm like, oh, cool. So I said, so what I'd like to do is lay hands on you. And she's looking at me. She's been cussing and all, you know, yeah, right. Well, yeah, we're here. We're at Lowe's, and you're going to lay hands on me? I said, yeah. I said, I'm not going to get on the counter and make a scene. I'm just going to stand here and put my hand on you and pray, and all the pain will leave. So he goes, oh, okay, well, what can it hurt? Lay my hand on her back, and all of a sudden, heat hits her head. Tears hit her eyes. She's crying. Eyes fluttering. Tears, and she's cussing still. You know, you think, okay, God's healing her, and she's cussing up a storm. I can't use the verbiage that she was using because we're in the basement, and I'm afraid it might fall on us. She says all of a sudden, she goes, oh my, blah, 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 blah. All the blah, blah, blah pain is going right out my feet. And she's looking like she's going to be able to see the pain spilling out or something. And she's totally healed. Right there in Lowe's. And then she tells us about her daughter who has MS and wants us to come pray for her. And it's like, sure, we'd love to. And so God is doing amazing things and wonderful things, and it's, you know, I could just go on and on and on and tell you different stories. I wanted to tell you about the angel one. We were in Nashua, I think, up north somewhere at a conference, about 650, it was all women, and I was supposed to be teaching on healing, so I had all my notes lined out, and I was really going to do a great job of it, and all of a sudden I feel this presence behind me, and I look, and I didn't see anything, but this heat and power and presence is there. And so I start getting words of knowledge, and I'm like brushing them off, thinking, oh, I'm going to teach my lesson. I spent a lot of time on this great healing lesson. And so next thing I know, I feel something on the back of my head. I'm thinking, oh, I'm in trouble. And this hand starts pushing my head down. And so it goes down and down and down and down. Next thing I know, my head is stuck in the music stand. And this angel is behind me pushing me. And so I'm trying to talk, and then holy laughter hits me. And I'm laughing, and this hand's on my head. And so, but I would pull my head up, and I try to read my notes, and then all of a sudden, it's like my eyes blurred, and I couldn't even see the notes anymore. And so I said, I'm not winning this battle, am I? And so I just tossed the notes, and holy laughter hits, and it starts going through the audience. And then the Lord said, I want you to minister healing to the women who are barren. And I believe that this year especially, God is going to deal with the barrenness that's in the church. He's given me several visions and that deal with the fruitfulness and barrenness in the church. And one of the passages is in Luke 13, where it talks about the gardener that came, and he's looking at the garden, and he sees this fig tree, and Luke 13 verses 6 through 9, and he's seeking for the fruit, and he found none. And so his solution was, let's just cut this tree down. And the gardener says, hey, give me a year. Let me fertilize this tree. Let me dig around it. Let me do some pruning. That's what I love, right? Is that what you love, that pruning, when you hear the chainsaw crank up? But when God prunes us, it makes us more fruitful. And so it says he's going to put this fertilizer on it. Well, sometimes fertilizer doesn't smell that great. And when fertilizer starts getting piled on you, it feels like you're being mistreated and abused and things are being dumped on you. But God is saying, hey, it's my fertilizer. And whatever we go through this year is the fertilizer that's going to bring us into the fruitfulness. Because he wants us to bring forth the figs. He woke me up the other morning, and I saw a vision of women, which a lot of times to me women represent the church. And there were women located in this church, and they had big, huge wooden baskets, big bowls. And they were supposed to have lots of fruit in them. And I knew the fruit was supposed to be this giant fruit that came out of the promised land. But their fruit baskets were empty. But I had a knowing in my spirit that as they took those baskets outside of the church, the fruit was going to come into them. Then they were going to carry the fruit into the church. And they were going to be assimilated. It's futile to resist the kingdom. We will assimilate you. Yeah. So they would go out, they'd win this fruit, they'd bring it into the church, it'd be assimilated, baskets would be empty, they'd go back out, and that's what we're going to see this year. It's the year of the fruit. It's the year of the womb. It's the year of the woman. And men, you have wombs too, you're not being left out. Yeah, that's right, Pastor. You're pregnant. You just didn't know it. Yeah, he does know it. And I was woken the other morning with an audible voice saying it's time to widen. Now, for a woman to hear that, that strikes horror to our heart. Because that's the last thing a woman wants to do. We think, is it my hips? Is it my thighs? Is it, for Pete's sake, is it my belly? You know, we're going to, oh no, I'm going to widen. But it was a widening of our influence, a widening of our power, and a widening, yes, of our wombs. Because God is going to bring us to fullness, to fruitfulness, to increase. And see, the womb is a place that is a catalyst that is very fruitful, that brings forth life. But it's also like the Issachar tribe that knows the fullness of time. And so for us to birth things, it's going to bring us into a fullness. We're going to begin to know the timing and the catalyst to release it and bring in that new thing. God said, behold, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? And so we're walking away from the old ways of doing things, from our religious traditions, from the things of the church, and we're stepping out of church mentality and into kingdom mentality, where God is going to begin to release the power to flow through us. I saw all these different streams coming together. So we began to run parallel together in unity, and a spirit of unity was released to bring forth the commanded blessing. But all these different streams converged into one river. And it was the river in Ezekiel, where there was water that would flow from the ankle to the knees to the loins. And then we would dive in that water out of control, where we are taken wherever the Spirit takes us. And we're not able to control those things anymore, but we go with the flow of the Spirit. And we're able to accomplish great things. And so this is the year that we're going to see those things begin to happen. And we're going to be able to flow in a whole nother dynamic. The other thing he told me was that the battle is at the gates. I believe that's in Isaiah 28. And it says, to those who are able to turn the battle back at the gate, God is going to give strength.